Good morning and happy Saturday. Welcome in to Group of Five Live, presented by us, the Group of Five guys, on a big-time Saturday. We don't have a lot of football left, guys. We got to enjoy this while we can. It's really the last month, certainly of the regular season that we have. So we got a big week. We got a big week to get to. If you don't know who we are the Group of Five guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs that the mainstream sports media will not do. We need your help to do that. We need you to go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, give us a 5-star rating and review, and share it with your family and friends. You can go to group-of-5guys.com and get you some Group of Five Guys swag, hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, beanies. And you need you to follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. This is Group of Five Live. First ever dedicated pregame show, dedicated specifically to the Group of Five. Boys, we had some good football over the week, during the week. I mean, up till 2, 3 in the morning trying to watch these games, but they don't disappoint, man. But we got a big weekend today. Stuff's going to shake out a little bit more in the Sun Belt. Conference USA today, it's going to come down to the wire with that Western Kentucky, New Mexico State game, which, by the way, that is my first gripe of the day is there's like 5 games that conference championship appearances are on the line, and they will be televised on ESPN Plus. We got to figure something out with that. We got to figure out a way to flex some of these games out or change them up, because I get it. I get the TV contracts, but we got Western Kentucky, New Mexico State today. Winner's going to play Liberty in the Conference USA Championship. It's on ESPN Plus. I got to watch it on my cell phone.
Yeah, you might as well have it on ESPN The Ocho, along with the dodgeball playoffs that are going on right now. But that's a big-time matchup. Determines who's going to play Liberty in Conference USA. We can't get this on a freaking CBS Sports or one of these channels.
Yeah.
Like, I'm with you, Sprouts. It's embarrassing. We got to figure something out. We got to be able to flex some of these games like the NFL does.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Like, it's funny you bring up dodgeball and ESPN The Ocho.
Cornhole.
But yeah, like on a Saturday, like today, I hadn't looked at the TV guide, but there will be like, a game on ESPN, a game on ESPNU, a game on CBS Sports, and then there'll be Johnsonville Cornhole happening on ESPN2. Like, surely the ratings, I mean, we can't be down that bad in Conference USA.
No way. Where
they're putting cornhole on a Saturday, on a college football Saturday. I'm with you, Jess, if it's Wednesday, and you got to be a real diehard to be watching MACtion, but
I know I did that face, but you just never know how certain states probably prefer to watch a little cornhole slinging. And who knows? I've been known to flip it on the cornhole channel and just be amazed by how many holes these guys can drill.
They are good.
That sounded terrible. How many times they can? How many times they can knock it in the hole?
It's a PG show, Swaggy. Come on.
It's ESPN. Remember now.
Sorry.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, we got.
Jeez,
good start. Good start here on a Saturday. But let's talk about some of these games from the week. So you had MACtion, Tuesday and Wednesday MACtion. I mean, NIU, just when you think they still have a shot, they just collapse again. Turnovers again. Ohio gets another win, but they don't look good. Miami defensively is just so good that they keep winning games. So they're going to get this rematch with Toledo, barring something crazy. Miami would have to lose their next 2 to not get in, and Toledo's already in there going to Detroit. But, unfortunately, I think the rematch is going to go just about the same as the regular season game did, where Miami just can't do anything offensively, especially without Gabbert. But
yeah, I think the test is going to be, because that Miami defense is playing really, really good.
Yeah.
Can they stop DeQuan Finn and that offense? I don't know. That's a tall task, but we always say it's hard to beat the same team twice in a year. And you're not that far removed of it. But I do want to give a little bit of a shout out. And I know they can't, make the championship game, but Western Michigan has been playing pretty good. They've looked really good at times. And Jalen Buckley, that running back, he is a stud, pulling off almost 120 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns to beat Central Michigan. I mean, that was a pretty good game. That game was back and forth.
Well, and Western Michigan, it looked like they had a decent little crowd, decent
did.
student section. So that, that's where again, like, we got to spend this off season figuring out what it is. I mean, Western, like, they don't have a ton to play for right now. It's a Wednesday night. They're playing Central Michigan, who, I get it. It's a bit of a rivalry game, but all in the MAC, really every game's a rivalry game to a degree. So I don't understand why, that game's got a decent student section, and then the NIU game, there's nobody at all there. And then even to be quite honest with you, the SMU game last night did not have a great showing.
No, it didn't.
For a team that thinks that they're going to go with the likes of Clemson and Florida State and the ACC, they better figure that out too. I get part of it is the brand name of the opponent that's coming in, but still, man, that's an in-state conference game, and if you're SMU, you got an outside shot at a New Year's game. You got a real good shot at winning the American. I just that's the part that kills me. When we talked about it like in the off season, or I think last Christmas is when we did that little 12 days of Christmas thing where, like, something's got to be done to get the casual fan to understand how big of a game that is, and they got to show up. I mean, you're on TV. I mean, it's embarrassing. I mean, I know Terry and the Cajuns were just absolutely ashamed of the Louisiana showing on Thursday night. But anyway, to finish up with MACtion, we brought up Toledo. To me, that was a statement game for Toledo. I mean, they came out and dominated. And here, that game was 35-3 at halftime, and it was 35-0 before Eastern Michigan hit a field goal late in that first half. And I'm sorry, man. I think Toledo has an argument to be the New Year's rep. I mean, I get it. They're in the MAC, but you said they're a last-second field goal away against Illinois from being undefeated right now. So, I mean, I'm sorry. Say what you want about the MAC, but you don't dominate teams like this. You don't go almost undefeated without being a really good team. And they have the guys. We always talk the eye test. I mean, Finn is good. Finn is athletic enough to be a problem no matter who they play. Penny Boone is an animal, and he's huge too. He's not some small guy. And then that defensive backfield is probably the best in the group of five. It's one of the best in the country, and we'll find that out when it comes Senior Bowl time, and you see Mitchell and Max and Hook do what they're going to do in the All-Star games. But I don't see
nobody's talking about them. Like, nobody's even mentioning them. That's the crazy thing is they're just, and I think that's probably a symptom of being in the MAC, is they just literally get no pub other than like us and the CSC podcast. But it's like, you're right. I mean, being so close to beating Illinois, could be undefeated, and not even getting like a mention is pretty disrespectful.
Well, and everybody's going to say, well, Illinois is not good, and they're not great, but at the same time, like, they're not terrible. If I was looking at Illinois' schedule the other day, I mean, they've beaten some decent Big Ten teams, and they've lost some really close games to some decent Big Ten teams. I mean, if you look at this Illinois team, they well,
I retract.
I was wondering where you're going with that one.
Well, they beat Maryland. They almost beat Wisconsin. They beat Minnesota.
Maryland's a good win.
Yeah, I mean, they beat Minnesota. They didn't.
Okay.
They didn't get blown out.
I think you've already proved it right there. I mean, Minnesota's a good ball club as well. So, I mean.
Yeah, it's a borderline 500 team in the Big Ten, and it was like week one. And week one, a lot of things happen.
Well, if they weren't cheating up there, stealing signs, they probably would have another win.
Well, you're right.
Every
we
Sunday,
got
I'm
6
always
or 7 in our poll.
Yeah, I can always admit, like when I'm doing my poll and stuff, when I get to 7 or 8, I'm like, oh, Toledo, wow, they should be higher up, should they not? And then I have to, remind myself.
Well, and it's weird too, because when we saw them live, like, it's unfair that their defensive backs are so good, but their front 7 is a little undersized. Jess, when we saw Ball State and we were like, they're a little small. It sticks in my mind a little bit, and yet, but yet every year when Toledo or whoever goes and plays Conference USA team or an American team or and what's that bowl in Detroit when they play like the 7 or 8 Big Ten team, they always perform. So
yeah, I'd love to see
it's about time
that.
we start giving Toledo some credit.
I'd love to see that defensive backfield against like a Rice or a true passing, SMU even, like to see how Quinyon Mitchell and those guys match up to some really top wide receivers and offenses that can push down the field, because they really haven't played. Nobody in the MAC, other than Miami would spread it out, but then, Gabbert got hurt that game. So it's like really spread it out and push them vertically to see how good those defensive guys are.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it too, though, Jeff, is like we see like the Miami game, or you see some games earlier in the season, and then as the season goes, Miami loses their quarterback and they still keep winning. It kind of shows how good their defense truly is. So then it's like, okay, well, Toledo not scoring in that second half is not as bad as I thought it was while it was happening. But anyway,
the quarterback position is not that important.
Okay, well, that's probably the truth. I'll tell you what position is important, and had all of a sudden, as soon as we started talking trash about the guy, Frank Gore Jr. in Southern Miss, where's this been?
He's back
for the first 8 to 7 games of the season.
They've been a gambler's nightmare the past few weeks because I mean, you can't figure them out. They flipped the switch on. I don't know if the coach decided to give the guys some what's that juice they drink in Space Jam to get them hyped up in the second half, because
Mike's Secret stuff.
Yeah, Mike's Secret stuff. These guys are playing outstanding, and it's tough to be a Louisiana fan right now. I promise you that.
Well, they're on their third quarterback, Chandler Fields. I mean, Zion Chris goes down. I think he's out for the season. But I got to give credit to Fields. I thought he played well enough. He was slow to start that game, but he didn't turn it over. He threw some really timely, throws down the stretch that kind of brought him back into that game. It just, Frank Gore, animal, dude. In the pass game and the run game.
Yeah. Well,
33 carries, Sprouse. That's right up your alley.
I saw, speaking of that, Group of Five related to, Marshall Falk was on a podcast. I can't remember which one, but they were talking about like the running back position being devalued, like especially in the NFL, and he was saying, running backs did that. He was like, we did that. He was like, in the era of like all these really good running backs, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, and before that, he's like, they didn't come out after getting 2 carries. And he was like, now these guys get 2 carries and they're tapping their head to come out, and the next running back that could come in is just as capable. So then they start splitting carries, and then the teams are thinking, well, I don't need to have Zeke Elliott. I can have Tony Pollard or whatever. So it's interesting to talk about that, but you rarely see them 30+ carries. That's big time. But yeah, and that Louisiana crowd, boys, I don't get it. I mean, whenever they had the championship game, I mean, I was telling y'all how awesome it was. This was 2 years ago. I was telling y'all how awesome it was, how awesome the tailgate and the crowd was. I get it. It was a championship game, but man, that was embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
Terry on Twitter was like, I'm done. He's like, if these guys don't care, he's like, I've been trying to promote, tell people, figure out what's going on. He's like, if they don't care, then I don't care.
It seems like a lot of the same stuff that we complain about with Middle. Like, it seems like, they have a huge rivalry game on a Thursday night on TV, and it just wasn't, they didn't promote it at all. Like, nobody in the community really knew it was happening. I get it. Like, look, I'm not here to say that it's the toughest battle when you have not only a quote Power 5 in your state, but when you have one of the largest brands in college football in your state. And so I know it. I know those kids, whether you live in Lafayette or not, they grow up, they want to go to LSU, they love LSU, their mom and dad love LSU. But at the same time, like, you have a team that's been in the Sun Belt Championship. Other than last year, they were in the Sun Belt Championship like 5 years in a row. I get it.
They've been struggling this year, but I think when they lost to Arkansas State last week, that took away a few more thousand fans to come to the game this past week.
Yeah, that sucks. It was that tweet we talked about. It was like, how much winning does it take? People were like, I would say 4 to 5 years. And I'm like, name me the team.
That's honestly what I think the problem is that they got used to getting 10 wins with
yeah, but they weren't even really like the crowds. I mean, better than the other night, but like, it wasn't like they were selling out. They weren't, I don't know, but it's a shame, man. It sucks. It might be a lost cause for some of these places. It just might be, because all the excuses are gone on some places, and yet they still don't show. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about it, boys. But we talked about another bad crowd, SMU. Good performance from SMU, though. I mean, they started out a little slow. I think a lot of people thought North Texas had it, but SMU, man, they're just – it's weird, though. They don't look good, right? Like, they won the game 45-21, but, like, they don't – I guess they're just – they're not super flashy. I don't know.
I thought they looked really good, and I can immediately say, like, that was probably first time watching a full SMU football game. And their offense is so explosive. Granted, I know they were going against a bad defense in North Texas. And North Texas also impressed me, because that was really one time I got to see them, a full game with them. And those guys on offense are very explosive. So I thought SMU did a good job on defense, getting stops when they needed to. And, I mean, their offense, they might be the best offense in the American. Y'all been saying that. These guys got a real shot here. They got a real shot here to win this thing.
We're going to find out. I mean, they play at Memphis next week. I mean,
that's the
huge game.
That's the game for them. I mean, this is what we talked about in the preseason. Their schedule lines up. I mean, I don't want to disrespect the conference, because North Texas, we also thought was going to be a really good team, but like, they don't play UTSA, they don't play Tulane, but that Memphis game is massive, and pretty much the winner of that game is going to be, especially if SMU wins. If Memphis wins, there's going to be some weird tiebreaker stuff that's going to have to happen. But
I think if SMU wins, they're in. And I can't explain it. I can't really back it up, but I just have this feeling that SMU is going to win the American championship. I don't know. I just think Tulane and UTSA are just going to, like, beat up each other that last game of the regular season, and I just got this feeling SMU is just going to kind of coast in, and then that like Jesse just said, that explosive offense, I think they're just going to come out there in the championship game and just flat out just outscore whoever they play.
I think each three of those teams we talked about, they have dudes, but I was watching last night. I love that fullback for SMU, Tyler Levine. If y'all watched the game or not, I don't know. He ran like. He is 1984 fullback. Yeah. He reminds me of Stone Cold Steve Austin off of Adam Sandler's movie Longest Yard. Yes, he ran that touchdown in yesterday, 10 yards out, and just rolling guys over. And then he gets on the sidelines and he takes his helmet off, sits down, and drinks his drink. He doesn't really celebrate or anything. I was like, ooh, love it.
Talk about an old school guy. I'll tell you, but you know what's crazy? Their defense, 8th total defense in the country, too. That's something like their offense. Yeah, I mean, that's a combo, man. Usually you get these high-powered offenses and their defense sucks. You're looking for shootouts every week. You're just looking to outscore everybody, but their defense is good, too.
Again, though, like, they haven't necessarily played the top offenses, other than North Texas is a top offense in the American, but, you know.
Well, and they played Oklahoma tight, which Tip preseason called that, and they lost to TCU in a relatively close game. That's kind of a okay. I'm gonna contradict myself here. I'm about to say how TCU is a bad loss for SMU when I just said Illinois is not that bad of a loss for Toledo. So, yeah, maybe I need to. TCU is not it's not a terrible loss, but they're just not nearly as good as everybody thought. I mean, we're talking about can't get over that Colorado beats them, and my God, the world sets on fire. But anyway, they also had 2 running backs over 100 yards last night. By the way, SMU did.
Jalen Knight.
Well, did you hear the stats on North Texas? Every team they played has got at least over 200 yards rushing on them.
How can you be that bad? I mean, geez.
When they said that, they showed when the D tackle was just kind of just like. It was pretty funny. Like 220 yards, I think was the exact number. Is rushing on them every game.
Well, that's tough. Game of the week, probably. Well, supposed to be Wyoming UNLV. Let me tell you something. UNLV. Now they got that showdown. The Air Force Falcons coming up, and based on the last performances from each team, UNLV is going to win that game. I mean, I'm waiting to see what Air Force does today, but UNLV is good, very good, leading the country in rushing touchdowns. I mean, they are, and they opened it up too. I mean, they almost gave up a little comeback early, but to go 21-0 fast on Wyoming, man, it's scary.
I agree with you, Sprouse. If you'd asked me about that UNLV and Air Force matchup a couple weeks ago, I would have said, Air Force is at home. I think they're going to win that game. They just look unbeatable. And now it's starting to shift.
Mm-hmm.
Like UNLV is playing their best football right now at the perfect time, and Air Force just they showed us against Army that they're beatable. Then they go to Hawaii this week, which we'll talk about a little later. But Hawaii plays well at home. I think Air Force comes and wins that game, but they got to travel all the way to Hawaii, and I think UNLV is they're just playing their best ball right now. They look really, really good.
Well, guys, it only comes down to, I went and toured their facilities, left Coach Odom a handwritten note on his desk there in his office.
No, you didn't.
I told him to read it to the team. These guys are fired up. They're ready to go. They know the group of 5 guys are behind them. Credible facilities.
What conference team got them? Was it Fresno?
Yeah.
Okay.
Barely.
I know Michigan. I know Michigan smacked them, but Michigan's smacking everybody.
And Michigan.
Now, so
they're a bunch of cheaters.
Oh, they're just stealing signs. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably had somebody in Vegas with some glasses on here watching their practices.
I cannot believe we haven't really talked about the Central Michigan sideline. I mean, God, dude.
That's embarrassing. And then have y'all seen the new report coming out about? I may be on PC to say this, but I think they're blowing that way out of the water. If I am an NIL player in a college football powerhouse like Ole Miss, and I take 2 weeks off and I refuse to go meet with my head coach, then I deserve to be kicked off the damn team because I ain't gonna do that because I have mental problems going on, mental health issues.
That's a problem with you guys. You guys have no regard for people's mental health.
Jeff, you have the least
and
regard.
Mental stability.
For real.
Listen,
it's embarrassing. Well, these kids, I get it. You don't have to practice. You don't, but you at least need to at least go talk to your head coach.
Your coach says you need to come have a conversation.
Here's the thing. I hate to say this, and I'm probably now you're going to get me fired up, and I'm going to be
I was pissed off about it
on PC. But it's the next thing, right? It's the next thing to claim when things are not going your way because it's like the untouchable. Oh, he said mental health. It's like, and what you're going to have now is if somehow, and I don't think it will because even the mainstream media has kind of been like, yeah, bro, like you got to at least communicate with the coach. But like if this somehow happens, you know how many people are going to not feel like practicing one day and you're just going to say like, I need a mental health day. You're
catering to a very soft generation. I'll admit I'm soft. But if you're an assembly line, at a factory and you don't go to work for 2 weeks, they're not just going to be like, "Oh, it's okay, bud. Take another week off." They're going to replace your ass. And if you can't even go talk to your manager, your supervisor, you want to say, "Oh," and you don't even have the DC to even text him back and say, "Hey, I can't make it." You just don't show up. No, you're just a bad excuse of a problem. What's going on in this generation right now? It's ridiculous.
And let's be honest, anybody that walks into their head coach's office and is recording already knows the outcome. And so there's
seen one of those before.
Reminds me a lot of something we saw. That's exactly right. And anybody that does that is you're just a scumbag. Like
I would not pick that kid up too if I was different. If I'm in TSU, I'd be like, nah, we don't need that problem.
No way, because the minute something doesn't go his way, he's going to do this. And first of all, $40 million he's looking for? What are we doing, bro?
I missed that part.
I just
he wants $40 million. He's doing a lawsuit on all this right now.
Yeah.
I guess.
And then also, who was it that front office sports? I mean, what are you trying to be, TMZ or something?
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. Like. I'm glad that everybody jumped on it pretty quick.
I'm a bathroom TikToker. That's where I saw it. I'm a bathroom TikToker. I extend my bathroom visits for another 10 minutes, but I saw that and it was like a repetitive video, 3 or 4 videos, and then I just got off TikTok because it really it bothered me because it made me think when I was sitting there in the training room getting my ankles taped, I felt like I had a mental disability too. I was like, I don't want to go out there today. Maybe I should have said something. Maybe I should have said something.
Well, and I think we gotta get on to Group of Five stuff, but I think he had just been like demoted, like he got dropped on a depth chart. I think right before.
It does mess with you. It happened to me a lot.
Right before, which but this is. God, we're about to get crushed here, Jess. You open this door.
I don't care.
like. I think sometimes we confuse like a challenge or something not going our way with like trauma. It's like a traumatic, like sometimes things don't go well, and that's fine. Like I think we're just confusing like just like a bad day or like, man, that thing sucked with I have now a medical condition. We gotta go. I gotta. Whew.
Jeff's like, let's go next one.
Then you got USC's quarterback just absolutely balling
looking for likes. And after
yes.
he makes fun of TCU last year.
Yes, dude.
Oh,
that kid is a
JP from Last Chance U. I've gained so much respect.
I saw what he tweeted.
Dude, I'm over here like,
funny.
bravo.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
We're too soft. They're too soft.
That guy wants part ownership of an NFL team before they draft him, too.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on.
So UNLV is good. Really good. So let's talk about some games today. There's not there's just because we're late in the season, there's not a lot of games that have a ton of implications. But let's talk about the American Conference. Tulane. Listen, see, here's an example. Tulane's a great team, but they don't need to be on ESPN2 at noon versus Tulsa. Like, get one of these other games on that. Flex it out a little bit. But anyway, Tulane, but they got to perform because they've been getting scared like for 3 weeks straight. So they gotta start looking the part. Temple at South Florida. South Florida's got 4 wins. They have Temple, UTSA, and Charlotte remaining. Looking to be bowl eligible for South Florida. So a lot to play for the Bulls. And I think they'll get that done versus Temple. Temple's not a very good ball club. And then Memphis at Charlotte. Poji's defending Jim Harbaugh. Charlotte's coming off an overtime win. Memphis looking to be in a New Year's Bowl. I think Memphis is gonna take care of business pretty quick.
And that's our lock of the week.
Yeah.
And,
well, your boy Rock Taylor, Jeff, has been on fire the last couple of weeks too.
He's a dog. Yeah, he's a good sized kid. He can run. He runs great routes. Has strong hands. So look for Seth Hennigan to get him the ball and him to make some plays. They are sneaky, like really, really good.
They're good too. They're kind of
flying under the radar.
Yeah, in a weird way, like I guess the same like flying under the radar way as like how SMU is. Like they're just
next week.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Where's that game at? Memphis?
Sure.
Yeah.
What did that guy on Twitter say? There's going to be 30,000 there no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what.
No matter what. Memphis is good. Memphis is bad. Friday night, Wednesday night, Saturday night, 30,000. That's it, no matter what. Then UAB's got a chance to, believe it or not, become bowl eligible too. They got to win out, but Navy, North Texas, and then Temple. So UAB, yeah, depending on what UAB team shows up, what North Texas team shows up, what Navy team shows up. But yeah, I think they can do that. And then same thing with FAU. Now that they lost last week, their focus pretty much goes to trying to make a bowl game, which that's crazy, man. A week ago, these teams are 1 game out of a conference championship, and now this week they're fighting to win 6 games. So it's crazy how it can change real quick. But they got ECU at home, and then Jeff, Rice at UTSA. Do you think Rice is going to mail it in, or are they going to give UTSA everything they got?
No, I think Rice is going to be ready to go, and I think this is going to be on a lot closer game than people think. I mean, it's sort of I don't want to say it's a rivalry, but it's an in-state matchup, and JT Daniels and that offense has been top in that conference, and they can score. And Frank Harris last week, I mean, he didn't look great. He didn't turn it over, but he didn't look like the Frank Harris we've come to know. So it's just going to be interesting to see what Frank Harris shows up this week. Now, they've been able to run the ball effectively throughout the season. And then I think the other key is Trey Moore's got to get pressure on JT Daniels. If that happens, if he can disrupt the pass game, then I think UTSA can pull away. But if Rice is able to move the ball like they've been doing, This game could be a lot closer down the stretch.
This may not make sense, so if it doesn't, just disregard it. But I feel like this is going to be like a locker room game where I think Rice, if the right pregame speech is said before that game, because I've been a part of big games where the pregame speech has been like dull as hell. You're like, I'm okay. We'll see what happens. But if they can get these boys up for this game, because they're a good football team, and if they actually believe they can win, I can see Rice pull up the upset, because it just depends on that pregame speech. It's all on the coach.
Well, we talked about how good we've talked about all year how good Tulane has been and how SMU is looking good. I mean, Rice lost 30-28 to Tulane, and then they lost 36-31 to SMU, and those are two of the top teams in the conference. So Rice can play. So the Roadrunners better be ready, and I hope the fans show up in the Alamo Dome.
Yeah, I think they will. The UTSA fans are starting to feel it. They're starting to go on their, they're on their little conference run right now. I think that'll be a really good crowd. Primetime game, 7:30, ESPNU. I think we'll see a decent showing. I am interested to see what they how it looks on TV with that crowd. When we were there, it felt like it was a really good crowd, and I think there'll be a similar type crowd tonight. But I'm interested to see how it looks on ESPN. Which by the way, I think. Do y'all think I think a big part of why the Group of Five as a whole, and like we were talking about the MAC, gets disrespected, I think a lot of it is the TV production. So I was talking about this on Twitter. Okay, that Colorado State game, right? Two mediocre at best teams, right? I mean, Colorado State's in the Mountain West. They're not one of the better teams in the Mountain West. They barely beat a bad Middle Tennessee team, but they went to 3 overtimes with Colorado. But that game, from the pregame lead up to just either the production, you had ESPN, 1A team on the call, I think. I don't think it was Herb Street and them, but was it Herb Street and them? I don't think so. No, it was, but whatever. But either way, you had one of the top announcers. The game happens. Then at halftime, they talk about that game. They don't go to, Jim Harbaugh's story or what Kirby Smart said in practice. They talk about that game. And then the post game, they talk about it. My point is,
it does matter.
That felt like you were watching two of the best teams in football just because of all the production of it. But then you put that game on ESPN Plus, and terrible. No offense to the local announcer team or whatever, but it's just not even close. The camera's not even close. I mean, I think that's half the battle.
It does make a difference, obviously, how the crowd looks.
Yep.
But even from our experience, when we would play on ESPN2 at Mississippi State, the quality, we looked just even better. Just as the quality, I remember watching the playback, on back in those days, they'd have the game back on at 2:00 in the morning. You could watch it again. Yeah. I remember watching this against Mississippi State on ESPN2 that one year, and I'm like, we just look like a different team than it does on the, ESPN Plus network. So yeah, I agree. The networking definitely plays a huge role in that. I think the quality of networking.
That's whoever's on the call, however they do the pregame. Last night watching the SMU game, it's like if you're talking about Jim Harbaugh, and then all of a sudden they're kicking the ball off in Dallas, and then it goes to halftime, and Matt Berry's like, the SMU getting it done. Jim Harbaugh suspended, and I was like, God, dude, can you at least talk about it for a minute, But anyway, here's some games that are going to have some bad broadcast quality. Is FIU at Middle Tennessee. FIU trying to become bowl eligible too. Now they got to win 2 out of 3. It's going to be tough. They got Middle today, then they go to Arkansas, and then they play Western Kentucky in the last week of the season. But they win 2 of 3. I think they could beat Middle. They could beat Western, potentially, especially if Western loses today. Western might throw in the towel for the season. So that's what you got to hope for if you're FIU. Wouldn't that be something if they made the bowl? But it'll be 2 years in a row where they had 4 wins, because they did this last year. They had 4 wins halfway through the year, and then they just, I guess I hate to say the meat of their schedule when they got Middle Arkansas and Western Kentucky, but it is.
If they were playing MTSU that beat Jacksonville State and ends up beating Liberty, then I'd probably be worried. But I don't know how this MTSU is going to respond. Are they going to give up on the season? So they may beat MTSU. That is.
We may have a 2-10 Blue Raider squad this year, boys. And then Sam Houston goes to La Tech. I don't even think that's on ESPN Plus. I don't think you can watch that unless you go. So hey, Ruston, Louisiana, you got no choice. You got to go. You got to pack the house, man.
Who do y'all like in that game?
I'm not betting.
I need picks.
La Tech, but not by 8. To be quite honest with you,
I like Sam Houston.
Sam Houston plays everybody.
They just got to win. They just got to win. Now they know how to win.
Kennesaw State.
I think it'll be close, but yeah, like you were talking about earlier, 8's a lot. So if you want to, like you were talking about earlier, Grisham, if you want to parlay that and bring that number down a little bit, that might be the way to go. I don't know. Sam Houston did get their first win last week, but there's just the defense has been solid. They just haven't been able to score points on offense. That's been their biggest struggle this season. And there's been some games where you think they should win just based on their defense, and then they just they kind of find a way to lose the game. So I just think it's a lot of the same in this game. I think La Tech gets the win.
Moving on to the Mountain West, Nevada's at Utah State, San Diego State at Colorado State. I think Colorado State will probably get it done. I don't like San Diego State at all.
Yeah, I want to see them get the win too. They're favored at home. You want to see if they can really make the jump as a program to win a game where you're favored like this. I mean, San Diego State has not been playing good, but they're not like a horrible team. So take care of business at home. And then a pretty cool stat: Braden Fowler Nicolosi became the all-time passing yards leader for a freshman at Colorado State.
Wow.
So shout out to him.
It's big time. And here's the thing too: Colorado State's only got 3 wins, but they got San Diego State at home. Then they got Nevada at home, and then they're at Hawaii. So, I mean, that's 3 winnable games for Colorado State. They can make a bowl game.
San Diego State's got to be the biggest letdown this year.
Man.
For this year, right? I mean,
got to be.
No one thought they'd only be at 2 wins, wherever they're at.
I'd have to say James Madison's probably the biggest letdown of the season because
Jeff,
they're not making a bowl game or a championship game this year.
I made a mental note that I was not gonna. That I was just going to breeze right over James Madison today. I wasn't going to allow us to get on the horse about James Madison, but here we are.
Y'all hate those guys, huh?
No, we don't.
No, you just
social media. I just feel like y'all are picking on them all the time.
Well,
I like James Madison.
I love their football team. Is unbelievable.
I like their fans too. They're passionate.
Yeah, I'm ready to. Coaches. I put in an order for the Sun Belt Championship T-shirt that they're making.
I don't mind that. I really don't mind that. Maybe I'm that. That's why people don't like me. Because I love that. Because they would win.
The season's not over.
3 games left. That's why I don't like it. If they go undefeated, yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
you should.
By all means.
I hear what you're saying.
Left.
I thought. Okay, that makes sense.
Because they could lose to Coastal, and now Coastal is the outright representative.
I thought people were mad, saying like, "You can't make that. Y'all aren't going. No. It's impossible for y'all to win." You're saying after that season, if they go, do it.
By all means.
I don't like. I agree with that too. I don't like that all the letters they're sending. Yeah, like to the NCAA and all that stuff are basically.
They still got to play App State.
Sorry,
right?
Sprouse.
Yeah.
Said you weren't going to do it.
Damn it. They still
I'm glad we're talking about it because we're on the same page then.
Now,
that makes sense.
Now here's the deal: like they would have to lose twice, so like more than likely they're going to be that team, and they already beat Troy. So
the App State game still.
They'd have to lose to App State and Coastal.
Oh, still got to play Coastal too. Oh, jeez. Oh, God, dude, don't make a shirt just right now. Yeah, okay, I hear you. I'm sorry.
But right. I mean, there's still a lot of people think they're getting some momentum.
They're just trolling. I think they're just trying to troll the Sun Belt. That's all they're doing.
Well,
and they're trolling y'all, and y'all are the ones get upset about it.
Well, I'm with you on that. Like Coastal kind of did this a couple years ago, and they just were like, screw it, we're gonna be the villains. We're gonna make everybody hate us. But what they didn't do is make everybody hate them, and then be all mad. Why does everybody hate us? Blah, blah, blah. That's this. Like that kills me about anything. Like
I think I am a James Madison guy. I think that's who I am. I think if I was a Group of 5 school, I'd be James Madison.
You just would do shit to troll everybody and then be like, why does everybody hate me?
I mean,
sounds
I
like
had to get
the
on
fantasy
here.
football group chat.
I had to get on here to make sure that y'all weren't going to talk about Christmas again, because the show that I'm not on, y'all want to start talking about Christmas decor and how insane it is, because you see how beautiful my house is right now.
It does look great. It looks fantastic.
Appreciate it.
I don't know. You must have not. Well, you must have only watched the clip and you didn't watch the whole show, because I sat there and said I got Christmas decor up, and I gotta say,
Jeff, Christopher Columbus has nothing to do with Thanksgiving. You do realize that, right?
I do, but the overarching
Christopher Columbus has nothing to. Italians have nothing to do with Thanksgiving.
Okay, just when you read something or hear something, you got to look at the overarching context.
I listened to it 3 times.
Swaggy.
I had to make sure what you said was correct. So I was like,
it was more on the cancel culture of these holidays, where they've tried to outright cancel Columbus Day, and there's a lot of talk about them wanting to cancel Thanksgiving because all of the genocide that occurred because of the white folk that came over here. So.
I thought you were talking about canceling Thanksgiving because, like, we're canceling it as a community just by skipping over it, like going straight into Christmas.
Well, both.
They're not canceling.
I mean, both, yeah. But they want to get rid of Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is
just because, and I won't have
just because you have a tree up and a few lights on your house does not mean that you're disregarding.
Your house is oozing Christmas decor.
It does not mean you're disregarding Thanksgiving.
You do a couple lights. Well, we'll rewind.
Well, that also puts in the reason why we have them up for like 6 or 7 weeks, because it ain't worth putting it up for just 3. Look, I love
Thanksgiving
her. More than life itself, but she has damn 6 trees. So all I'm saying is Thanksgiving's about family coming together. Family will come together. And we're also in the same boat as Sprouse. Her family from New Jersey is coming in. It's going to be our Christmas as well.
See, so you did listen and you heard me support it. I know. But then after you say that, you say, I know, Jeff, it's ridiculous. It is.
It's scientifically proven that people are happier. Women are happier when they have Christmas Day. You know what? It's going to make her happy. For the love of God, put them up.
By the way, I'll keep you guys posted. I was going to do it yesterday, but it was raining. I am getting on the roof to do my lights, and y'all know how over my garage. So I didn't want to get up there in the rain. So if I'm not on the show Tuesday, just hey, I fell off the roof. So just keep me in your thoughts and prayers.
Start a GoFundMe for your medical bills.
Yeah, we don't need it because insurance is a disaster. I mean, I'm still getting bills from having my first child 3 years ago. They'll send me a refund check. And then 3 months later, they'll send me a bill. I'm like, why'd y'all send me a check? Anyway, where we at? Sunbelt. So
we were talking about the James Madison deal. Then we got to the Christmas lights.
See, Jeff, look at what we just did, Jeff, because you brought up James Madison, and you wonder why I don't like him.
We were talking about the Mountain West, and when
Jeff brought up James Madison, and it turned into Christmas lights and me falling off the roof.
Every week they got something new.
So here's the deal. I'm going to try to make this quick, but I have to give myself a little bit more credit today. Boise State fans are in shambles about the way they've been running this quarterback system, which I mentioned after week 2, week 3. When did we go to Memphis? Week 3. And I said how we didn't like this 2 quarterback thing, and they keep doing it, and it's getting worse and worse every week. And Boise might not make a bowl game.
So bad their top receivers transferring out midseason.
Yeah, well, so we'll see. I think they'll beat New Mexico, but. Oh man, yeah, that's bad.
You already talked about that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, just somebody had to be in that kid's ear. We talked about how the coaches are standing next to the player, having their player call their buddy and try to recruit him. It's freaking ridiculous. Probably the same. It's probably the same people that don't care about the mental health of their defensive linemen is the people that are doing this.
Yep.
But and then Air Force is at Hawaii. I can't believe I've never been so down on a team that's 9-1 and undefeated in the conference as I am the Air Force Falcons right now. They better come out. Not that I matter to anybody or not that we matter to anybody, but they better come out and dominate Hawaii. Otherwise, I might drop them out of my poll. How about that? Sun Belt Conference. This is what I was going to do, Jeff. UConn's at James Madison. That's all I was going to do. Troy is at Monroe. Arkansas State At South Alabama, that's another disappointing team, Jess. You mentioned San Diego State. South Alabama, really disappointing. I mean,
Brick
week
by
to
brick.
week, you just never know what team they're going to.
Brick by
Yeah,
brick.
yeah. Hey, Arkansas State.
It's them and Southern Miss. They
They're
both
fighting
turned
for
the
a bowl
switch
game.
on. I don't know.
They're going to make
I don't
a
know
bowl
if they
game.
got their coaches going to their teams and watching film and stealing signs or what. Maybe they figured it out.
Probably.
But Arkansas State, they got something cooking in Jonesboro.
And then big one, Marshall, man, my pick to win the Sun Belt, complete collapse. We talked about a 7-game stretch. They are, I think, 0-5 so far in that 7-game stretch. But Georgia Southern is a completely different team on the road. Georgia Southern's 5-0 at home, 1-3 on the road. So I'm a little bit nervous for the Eagles here.
They need to win, though. So that's the thing.
They got to win.
Is to stay in the East, the hunt for the East, they've got to win. So I think they take care of business. I think I'm with you, Sprouse. I think Marshall, I think, has kind of mailed it in.
Yeah, Marshall's got – I mean, anytime you got, the coach and the media kind of going at it a little bit in pressers, it's never a good sign. Never a good sign. It's crazy because 2 years ago they were real high on hiring Coach Huff, and it's like now they want him gone. And you just got to be careful what you wish for, man. And then just remember what you did wish for and you got, before you start flipping the script after a season and a half. Games of the week. Let's talk about them. We'll go around. We'll all make the pick. We got about probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes left here. Here's the one, dude. New Mexico State at Western Kentucky, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN Plus. Jeff, who you got?
Well, I think New Mexico State is the hotter team right now, which is kind of you would think is crazy to say, before the season. But Diego Pavia is having a good year, and he had a rough start to the season where they kind of split time with him and Eli Stowers, but he's pretty much taken over the job. He's over 2,000 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, and has another 5 rushing touchdowns on the year, leading that team on the ground as well as their top rusher. And Western Kentucky just hasn't looked like the team that we've come to know and love. That offense has just not been moving the ball. I think they're ranked 5th in the conference right now, as opposed to always being the top 1 or 2 offense in Conference USA the last couple of years. So being at Western Kentucky, I like the Hilltoppers at home to win narrowly, but it would not surprise me at all if New Mexico State flies up there and takes care of business. But I'm going to go Western Kentucky just because I think they're Austin Reed especially is used to winning big games, and this is a big game for them.
It's a good pick. Tip, what do you think?
Yeah, kind of like what Murph just said. Western Kentucky's at home this game. I like them to win because of that, but I think this game is going to be very close in the second half. I think New Mexico State keeps this game close with how well they've been playing. Like Murph said, they're playing fantastic right now. I mean, they keep winning, and they've put themselves in this position where they can win this game and go to the conference championship. But I think Western Kentucky finds a way to get it done, but barely. I think it's going to be a close game, maybe like a last-second field goal. And the over-under is 54.5. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I would take the under in this game.
I like it. Jess?
I like Diego Pavia. I think New Mexico State, they're 7-3 right now. These guys are winning. They're going to surprise Conference USA. Everybody thought Western Kentucky was the clear front runner with them and Liberty. I think they're going to prove that people don't know what they're talking about with Conference USA. I like New Mexico State going to Western Kentucky and pulling off the upset.
I am right there with you, sir. Western Kentucky has played 3 dual threat type quarterbacks. Byron Brown at South Florida, Caden Salter at Liberty, and Zion Webb at Jacksonville State. All 3 of them rushed for over 100 yards on Western Kentucky. Pavia's not only New Mexico State, obviously he's quarterback leading passer, but he's also their leading rusher. Big game on the ground for Pavia.
Fantastic stat right there,
Thanks,
Sprouts.
Tip.
I changed my pick.
No, don't do that, because then we rarely split like this on our picks. A lot of times we all pick the same team, so you got to stick with what you got. Old Dominion at Liberty. Now, here's the deal. This game is pretty meaningless as far as any conference things go. Liberty's already hosting. Liberty's been hosting Conference USA Championship since preseason, essentially. But Liberty's still trying to be the New Year's Six rep. And even though they're undefeated, they're just going to need some help because everybody's down on Conference USA.
I think because of that reason right there, Sprouse, I think Liberty wins this game big. Like I think they're trying to score as many points as possible today to send a message out there that they belong in the New Year's Six Bowl.
Well, and most of the hate towards Liberty comes from the Sun Belt. And it comes from you guys would be this, and this in Sun Belt.
Crazy.
And Old Dominion has played everybody in the Sun Belt real tight, and they've beaten a few of them. So I think I'm right there with you, Tip. I think Liberty is going to be like, all right, Conference USA might be bad, but we'll whip your ass in Sun Belt.
We'll put 50 points on you. Yep.
Not only that, Jamie Chadwell's played Old Dominion a lot in his time at Coastal. So I'm with you. I think Liberty big. I think they got a point to prove.
Yeah. Jess?
No, I think I'm the jackwagon of the group, and I'm just looking at the scores here. I mean, you realize every game they've lost, besides Virginia Tech, has been a one possession.
Old Dominion,
yeah.
Old Dominion. They almost beat James Madison last week. I don't think Liberty. This is going to contradict my preseason because I said Liberty would go undefeated and win Conference USA. I have a feeling today is going to be a wild upset day. I think ODU pulls off the money line upset.
Boy, if Old Dominion wins this game, the Sun Belt, all of the Sun Belt is going to come together.
A rival,
yeah,
right? It should be, yeah.
Both in Virginia. Virginia's got.
I just think Old Dominion
damn good Group of Five football, doesn't it?
Do.
If Old Dominion, think about it, 1 or 2 plays in each game, because the game's all about inches. They could be almost like 8-3 right now, So
yeah.
or 8-2. I'm with Old Dominion. I'm going to take the upset.
Old Dominion, I like it. Another one in the Sun Belt, Texas State at Coastal. Texas State is pretty much out of the running in the West. I mean, they need a lot to happen. Coastal has everything right there in front of them. The question is, what quarterback's playing for Coastal today, and how much does Texas State have to play for? I don't know. Have you looked at the injury report, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Ethan Vasco again. The transfer from, I want to say either Nebraska or maybe Kansas. I can't remember where he transferred from, but reports coming out of Conway is he got all the snaps all week. And some people feel that he's a better fit for that style of offense than Grayson McCall is. And he came in last week, was the top rusher on the ground with 180 yards, also had a passing touchdown as well. This is going to be a tough game. You're going up against the top offense in the Sun Belt, one of the top offenses in the country, but their defense gives up points. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm going to go Coastal because they're my pick to win the Sun Belt still, and I think they have a shot, and it's going to come down to that James Madison game. But it wouldn't shock me if the Bobcats win this game. They have a lot of firepower on offense.
Yep.
Yeah, Texas State, they're 2-2 on the road this year, and they've been I think it's unfair to call them inconsistent, but it's just, there's some games where you thought they would win and build off momentum, and they end up losing that game. So but I think because of this you're not sure about this quarterback situation for Coastal Carolina. I could definitely see Texas State coming in there and winning this game, but I'm going to pick Coastal just because I want to see like if Coastal wins, I just want to see how that Sun Belt East kind of shakes out. If you get a Georgia Southern win today, and if App State keeps winning, I just want to see this 3-team race going into towards the end of the year in the Sun Belt East. So I'm going to go with Coastal to win at home.
This East, honestly, they all could lose, and it'll still be like
you might have where they're at.
Yeah. Well, and then if they all lost, and then Georgia State beats App today, then Georgia State gets right back in the mix of this thing. We said it, didn't we say it preseason? There's going to be a 4-loss team playing in the Sun Belt Championship game. Wouldn't that? And they are all going to want to fire their coach. Every one of them is going to want to fire their coach. They'll be in the Sun Belt Championship game. Jess, who are you picking, Texas State at Coastal?
I think Texas State does still have a lot to play for. They're trying to play. They're still building that program. They want to have a really good regular season schedule. They're playing for a really good bowl game. I think they want to go to Coastal Carolina. I think they're a better team than Coastal Carolina, so I'm going to take Texas State.
Man, I am going to take the Bobcats too. I just don't trust Coastal. And this is like last year Coastal was looking so good, and then towards the end of the season, I know they had, the Chadwell rumors, McCall was hurt, but then they just collapsed completely, and I don't trust them.
We coming.
Taking Texas State.
We coming. Where's the steeple?
They hadn't won a game since he said that, have they? Dion, Colorado.
No, I was talking about Steeple's voicemail.
Yeah, I know. But App State at Georgia State. Yeah, I think App State's starting. I don't want to base everything off of just last week, but they're starting to look better. Of course, Clark sold me like he does every time. But Georgia State's probably a better team. I really think they are. I think they're more balanced. I think they're more physical than App State. That being said, I think App State is kind of starting to get some confidence. I think it'll be very close. I think App State's going to win this game by one score. It's a 2-point line. I mean, I think that's – look out, Stu. You might have another last-second field goal type of game here. But I'm gonna pick App. I'm with Tip. I wanna see the best tiebreaker scenario. And God forbid we cannot have. God forbid the Sun Belt East champion does have 4 losses and James Madison is undefeated. I mean, boy, they are gonna just. I mean, good Lord. Anyway, Tip, who you got in this game?
I'm going with App State. This is our underdog pick of the week. They've won 2 games in a row. They're building that momentum, playing good football at the right time of the year. And you just don't know what Georgia State team is going to show up, right? Which Darren Granger is going to show up? Is it going to be the one that rushes for over 100 yards, or is it going to be the Darren Granger that is throwing interceptions and turning the ball over? Just the inconsistency with Georgia State. And I mean, let's be honest. There's probably going to be, this game's at Georgia State, but there's going to be more App State fans there. So it'll basically be a home game for App State. So I like for App State to go and win this game today.
Jeff?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Game's getting ready to kick off here. I think Georgia State gets it done. I think it's close, but I think Darren Granger does show up and has a big day on the ground, him and Carroll.
Swag?
Georgia State.
Ooh. Big game. Fresno State at San Jose State. Fresno State is looking to kind of cement themselves as the favorite in this Mountain West. San Jose State with still an outside shot. San Jose State favored at home. Another late one, 10:30 Eastern, CBS Sports. By the way, all the games that we just talked about, every single one of those is an ESPN Plus game, just to further my point. It pisses me off so much. But CBS Sports, 10:30 Eastern time. Jeff, I'm going to start with you. You've been on San Jose State's wagon a little bit. Can they get it done today?
I think they can. I think it's going to be extremely tough for them. I think Fresno State's defense is one of the top in the Mountain West. A lot of weapons on offense that they can score. I'm going to pick San Jose State because I want to see them make it to the championship game, and I want to shake up. So give me San Jose State, but I'd be fine. I can understand. I think Fresno State probably wins this game, but I'm going to go with San Jose State.
Yep.
I'm going with Fresno State. I feel like I'm missing something. I can't believe that they're not favored in this game. I guess just because San Jose State's at home in this game. I don't know. But, I mean, Fresno State's been looking really good.
They don't have a great home field advantage, so I don't think that would be it.
I don't know. It's just confusing to me. I think Fresno State wins.
Nobody's hurt. Nobody's nothing going on.
I've seen nothing major.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fresno State, like, pretty handily, I would say. But Jess, what do you think?
I'm gonna follow Vegas and Jeff. They know something. I'm taking San Jose State. I would think Fresno, but something. There.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
I'm gonna bet on it, and I'm gonna put San Jose State. So sorry, Spartans.
What did you say the line moved to, Tip? 2.5 now?
2.5.
Is that?
Yeah, 2.5 Yeah.
Anyway,
there's something, like Jesse said.
Yeah,
there's
something's going on here. Something's going on here. Anyway, that's all we got for you. Games are getting ready to kick off. Group of Five guys. We need your help. We need you to go to YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, subscribe to the channel, give us a 5-star rating and review. Tell your family and friends about us. Live show every Tuesday night, live show every Saturday morning. Follow us on all the social platforms at Group of Five Guys, or you can go to groupof5guys.com. Get you some gear. It's Christmas season. Start getting you some.
Go put your tree up. Go put your tree up and decorate.
Enjoy your
Happy
turkey
Thanksgiving.
and stuffing
Our inside
and
is
dressing and cranberry. Enjoy Thanksgiving, and then we'll get the Christmas decor up.
Let's rank the holidays on Tuesday.
Let's do it.
Rank holiday meals, power rankings.
I love Thanksgiving.
Okay, have a great day. Happy Saturday. See y'all.